Hey everyone, this is Dr. Malego, and in this video, I'm going to teach you the first lesson on the clarinet. So the first thing we want to do is take the clarinet case, put it down on a table, and have the student stand next to it, or you can put it down on a chair and have the student kneel in front of it. You're going to want to make sure that they understand how to open the case properly. Most of the time, the handle is going to be on the bottom part of the case that's going to be lower, and if there's a name on the case, it's going to be able to be read, so it won't be upside down. You'll have to use your common sense to figure out how each student's individual case opens. Once you open the case and you see the instrument inside, you want to point out the parts. Ordinarily, I would leave all the parts in the case and point to them in the case, but in this case, I'm going to actually pick them up since I'm doing it on this video. So we're going to have the mouthpiece. It's going to have with it a ligature, and it's going to have a mouthpiece cap, which looks a little bit like Darth Vader. Next, we're going to have the upper joint, which is going to have cork on both sides. We'll have the lower joint, which only has cork on one side. We have the barrel. And we have the bell. The other thing we want to look at when we're opening the case and we're inspecting the parts of the instrument for the first time is to ensure that the corks are greased. Now, the very first time you open the clarinet case, you're going to need to grease the corks, and you're going to want to grease the corks about once a week, depending on the climate you live in. So to do that, you just take the cork grease and you just put a little bit around. You take your finger and you go like this. You shouldn't see cork grease, and it shouldn't be really greasy. It should just be slightly lubricated. Next, we're going to learn how to make the embouchure on the clarinet. So as early as possible in the lesson, I usually have the students put the reed in their mouth so that they can get it soaked a proper amount. I'm using a synthetic reed today so that I don't have to soak it, so that I can talk and do this first lesson for you. So we're going to take the mouthpiece. We're going to take the barrel. And what we're going to do is we're going to take the narrow side of the barrel, so it's fatter on one side and skinnier on the other. We're going to twist it onto the mouthpiece with just a nice gentle twisting motion until the mouthpiece and barrel are completely together as one unit. We're going to take the flat side of the mouthpiece, which has a little hole in it called the window. We're going to take the flat side of the reed. So you'll notice one side of the reed is beveled, the other side is flat. We're going to take the thinner part of the flat side of the reed. That is going to go against that flat part of the mouthpiece. We're going to slide the reed up almost all the way to the tip. So there's just the tiniest little bit of black showing, really about as much as an eyelash. We're going to take the ligature, which is narrower on the top and fatter on the bottom, put the screws toward you, put the reed toward you, take the ligature, set it gently over the mouthpiece, and lower it so that you'll see a little window where you can see the brand of the clarinet. Almost always in your beginner cases, the clarinet's ligature screws are going to be on the right-hand side. You're just going to give them a little twist until it's snug but not too tight, and the screws are toward you, with the reed toward you. There are inverted ligatures where the screws are still going to be on the right side, but they are going to be on the opposite side of the mouthpiece. So just be aware that those do exist. So what we're going to do next is we are going to take a piece of paper and we're going to slide it between the reed and the mouthpiece until it just kind of stops naturally. If you want, you can take a pencil and you can mark the reed at that spot. You can also set your thumb there to help remember it and remove the paper. Next, you're going to take your lower lip like you were putting chapstick on. So notice how it's nice and flat and kind of stretched over your teeth. There still is some pink of your lip showing on the outside, but your lip is like a cushion. You're going to take that part of your lip with your lip over, and you're going to put the reed right there where your thumb is. You're going to put the mouthpiece there. You're going to put your teeth on top of the mouthpiece, close your lips like a drawstring, and you're going to have the inside of your mouth making the shape like you're hissing like a mad cat. Feel how high your tongue is, or like you're saying ki or he. Notice your tongue is high, arched high in your mouth. That's going to be called your voicing on the inside of your mouth. So let's review. Lipstick pulls our chin nice and flat. We have the teeth on top of the mouthpiece, drawstring closed, tongue high. And then we're going to blow fast air, and it's going to give us a sound. And make sure that we remove the thumb from the back of the reed before you make sound. Be sure that you have your students make some sound with the barrel and the mouthpiece together before moving on to the next section. So next we're going to talk about articulation. On the clarinet, we're going to use the tip of the tongue right at the top, right at the back of the top of the reed. And we are going to use the syllable T because we have that high voicing inside the mouth. You can practice this away from the clarinet first by having the student say T, 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 and then do it with no sound. And then you can add it to the clarinet. So remember, lipstick lip, teeth on top, close the drawstring, tongue high, and then articulate. And you can echo back and forth with the student with the articulation. Next, we're going to talk about putting the instrument together. So we have the mouthpiece and barrel already assembled. We're going to take the upper joint. We're going to take the mouthpiece and barrel. We are going to, touching as few keys as possible, being very gentle with a twisting motion, twist the mouthpiece on so that the reed is in line with this key here, which is called the register key. So to make a straight line. Next, we're going to take the lower joint. We're going to take the side that doesn't have cork, and we're going to put that on the side that has cork that's revealed. Now, if you'll notice here, there are keys. You can see this key that sticks out. This is called the bridge key, and that is going to connect to this part right here on the lower joint. We have to be very careful of that because if we bend that key, the clarinet's not going to work properly in its communication between the top half of it and the bottom half. So if we depress this key, the last ring key on the upper joint, you'll see that it raises that bridge key so that we can go ahead and make sure that as we assemble it, they don't jam together. We're going to be very careful and try not to bend keys, be very gentle with our motion until we have the clarinet fully assembled and you see that that bridge is together there. It's straight together. Then we're going to add the barrel. Now, I like to talk about this when we get to this part because we have to make sure that we are holding the lower joint when we are putting the barrel on. If we are holding anywhere up higher and put the barrel on, that is going to stress this joint of the clarinet because it's going to also move. So we want to make sure we're holding the next joint up, the lower joint, take the bell, add the bell with the twisting motion, being careful of the keys, and now our clarinet is assembled. So next we're going to talk about how to hold the clarinet while we play it. The left-hand thumb is going to cover this key in the back of the clarinet. It's going to be on a little bit of an angle so that we are able to hit the register key later when it's time. So cover that hole. On the front of the clarinet, we're going to have a key, and a hole. And then the pinky is going to reach to this key right here. The left-hand pinky is going to be right on here, which is going to be the B key on the clarinet. On the right hand, you're going to take your thumb, the side of the thumb here is going to go against the thumb rest. So see how my thumb is sideways like this? And then we're going to cover these three holes. And then the pinky is going to cover this key here, which is called the C key. So the pinkies, the home keys for the pinkies, to me, it feels like I'm hugging the clarinet, reaching in, kind of hugging the clarinet. But those are the home keys. The pinkies are going to operate all the keys over there, but they have one place that's their home where they're supposed to stay. So when we're playing, we want the clarinet to be at a 30-degree angle with our body. Chin is parallel to the floor, and the clarinet is like this. And that's how we'll hold it while we play. So next we're going to do the first 3 notes. So on clarinet, I like to start with E, D, and C. So for E, we have our thumb covering on the back, and we have the first finger covered. And we're remembering to keep the tongue high, and we're remembering to articulate. Then we're going to add a finger for D. And then we're going to add the third finger for C. And that's your first lesson on clarinet. Thanks for watching.